This is our time. I gave a talk a couple of weeks ago in DC to an organization called Women Getting Visible, and I wanted to pull some of the thoughts from that to share with you as we step into these next months of the Quest Year group. You've spent these last months since January getting really clear on what we called our blue sky visions. You really got in touch with who you are, what your values are, what you really truly desire to do in this world, not only in your work, but in all parts of your life, what truly matters to you. You envisioned changes and transitions you wanted to make. You navigated some pretty rough waters at times across. With Jeannie's help, you busted through the resistance that's inevitable as fear or wavering confidence arises for all of us. And Susan helped us stay true and on track to who we truly are. We also had some really wonderful sharing at our retreat. I just still reflect back on that and how magical it was that we each came forward and shone our light in our specific, our individual way that sort of created a beautiful rhythm across those few days together. Uh, all along the way, too, you had the little 12-week action tracking items that hopefully kept you moving forward and taking steps and taking real action toward exploration. Maybe not feeling completion of all the things you thought, but you also recognize the opportunity to pivot and the opportunity to decide differently than you thought originally, which is all a part of this finite 12-week action planning, as opposed to these 5-year plans we all put together. Oh, we used to. I think of all the things, I love that we've all taken steps to bring our dreams alive and honor who we truly are. Now, as we approach our final chapter of Quest Year, I wanted to lift the conversation and have you think on a little bit higher level, to remember what it is and was all for in this year together. Because this next phase isn't just about finishing a plan, it's about stepping into visibility and connection to make a collective impact. So let me tell you what I mean. Okay, I might have mentioned this quote before. It's one of my favorites. I carry it around and pull it out for myself when I need to remind myself that this is what I truly want to do in this life. Martha Graham says, there is a vitality, a life force, a quickening that is translated through you into action. And because there is only one of you in all time, this expression is unique. And if you block it, it will never exist through any medium and it will be lost. Every time I think this or read this, it takes my breath away. It reminds me, and I hope it reminds you, that there is something inside of each of us that no one else on this planet can bring to life. Each of you has uncovered that life force, that why, that unique light that fuels your purpose, your ideas, your voice. And now it's time to really ensure that that light is seen. For some of you, this means sharing your business or new venture, not as self-promotion, but as self-expression, as an offering born of your truth. For others, it's revealing your next creative or personal chapter. Writing, mentoring, coaching, healing, exploring what's next, and doing it with the courage to be visible in your authenticity. And one of the things that really has just been so wonderful that Laurie shared with us this whole idea of embracing who we truly are. And we actually wrote the bios of who we are without our resumes, our roles, our titles, our responsibilities. And that was a brilliant and beautiful experience. So I hope we're still holding on to this essence of who we are. Because when we show up as our true selves, something magical happens. Our visibility becomes service. It becomes inspiration. It becomes an invitation to others. When one woman shines her light, it gives others permission to shine theirs. And when we align those lights, oh my gosh, our collective can become quite bright and luminous. So, by the way, I just want to mention as a sidebar, we're going to have a special guest. You've seen her a bit, I guess. Her name is Donna Cravata. She's a new 333 member. And basically, she is coming to us to help us around getting visible. She is an expert on a number of things, but mostly helping us explore how to communicate and share from a place of authenticity, clarity, and resonance without marketing funnels, social media ads, and all of that. She is all about helping us figure out strategies to communicate to the right people at the right time in the right way with the right message, using much of what you may have already written, podcast interviews you've either given or been a part of. There's so much content that we've created that she has really inventive ways of harnessing that and not having to reinvent the wheel constantly as we go through the world and we design our courses or our media posts or our workshops. I just can't wait for you to interact with her. Uh, she'll come to us prepared to answer your questions. If you want to even throw out a strategic communications challenge you have, or question about AI or about PR, about podcasting, how to get on a podcast. She has a lot of really beautiful ideas. The woman is always spending her time researching and understanding what's available to us. She is uh, aligned with sort of all of our roles and not roles, our goals to be authentic in our work and to get in front of the right people and connect with them in a meaningful way. So I'll close by saying, just remember the world doesn't need more polished, perfect versions of us. It needs real ones. Women who show up with confidence and honesty. Women like you all who share their insights, their ideas, their visions from the heart. When we stand in the truth, visibility becomes an act of service, of positive impact. I've said that before, but I'll say it again because there's actually data that says that authentic leaders are rated 3 times more inspiring and twice as trusted. And this is what excites me about the power of sharing our stories. I'm hoping some of you will share your aha stories in the upcoming week in the group sharing group, because the stories we share are not only defining of us and connecting us with others. This is important to remember, and this is data, which I love. Stories are 22 times more memorable than facts alone. So when you step forward in your truth, you're not just shining for yourself, you're lighting the way for others. Your voice encourages mine, and mine strengthens yours. So as we move into this next week, I invite you to think of visibility not as a spotlight, but sort of as being a star in a beautiful constellation. You are one bright star among many, lighting the path forward for others, for the world that needs your wisdom, your positivity, your creativity, your ideas, and what you have to offer. This is our time. Not to compare ourselves with others, not to feel like we're competing with people doing the same thing. No, but it's time to stand beside each other, bright, aligned, and unstoppable. So I'll write out a few of the little mini assignments below, but they're really reflections to write a journal, or you can do voice notes if you want. The first is a reflection prompt. As you think about where in your life or work are you being called to step out, to be more seen, more heard, or more connected? What part of your authentic self wants to come forward next that may have been hidden a bit? We all tend to be, especially from the corporate world, or in a certain role, tend to wear masks that can sometimes hide who we truly are. So what is that part of you that really wants to step out? The second prompt is, how can your visibility, your story, your ideas, your venture serve or inspire others? Just remind yourself of this. And each of you are doing very, very meaningful things, and you have very interesting personal visions and versions of what you want to share. So talk a little bit about that and how doing that can actually help others. What ripples could your light create when joined with other women's lights? Are there collaborations you might create? Number 3 is around alignment, sort of in the stay true lane. Take a look at your most recent 12-week tracker. Hopefully you've been keeping those up, but which actions could you infuse with connection energy, collaborations, invitations, partnerships, and shared visibility moments? And then there's a 4th creative exercise that I would love to hear you speak to or share in the group sharing area. And that is just to write a quick paragraph that begins with, "This is my time to shine because." I thanks for listening and thanks for being here. What we'll decide over the next week or so is how we're going to celebrate and what our final session in December will be. I don't want to push your attendance at Quest event in Santa Fe in April, but what I'm hoping you'll be willing to do possibly is to share an aha story. Please reach out to me if you want to talk about that. But meanwhile, have a beautiful rest of your week, and I'll see you on November 12th. Take care. RSVP if you haven't already. See you later.